From Sweden, we've travelled across the Atlantic Ocean to Central America. 400 kilometres northwest of Mexico City is the city of Leon, our host for the rally with the 22 stages. Mikko Hirvonen heads the field on 25 championship points, with Mats Osberg keen to show that his success in Sweden was no flash in the pan. Jari-Matti Latvala will be looking nervously over his shoulder as the Citroens are out to avenge Sweden. Petter starts 5th on the road, while the M Sport Stobart Fords of Matthew Wilson and Henning Solberg start just ahead of Monster World Rally team driver Ken Block. 11, there is an extension to the Guanajuato festivities with a brand new street stage immediately following the start ramp. The route plunges into the darkness of one of this historic town's maze of underground tunnels and continues for just over a kilometre. Thousands of Mexican rally fans have crammed into every available vantage point, and our featured driver Petter Solberg is always a big favourite here. It's quite a spectacle with the cars set up for gravel on cold tyres. These dark cobbled streets are incredibly slippery.
32 right minus tight 1.
Oh, and a brush with one of Guanajuato's underground tunnels by Petter there. And just listen to the reception there from the crowd at the roundabout. Solberg is the quickest man through this unique stretch of road.
So many people, it's crazy. So this is what we need for the sport, and I think even if it's a short stage and stuff, you know, it makes the crowd crazy. So that's what we're hoping to do tomorrow.
First up today is the 26-kilometre blast through Alfaro, wide and incredibly fast in places. It also rises to an altitude well in excess of 2,500 feet. And that's, of course, going to affect the engines. It also includes a flat-out 6th gear jump towards the finish. We'll be keeping a close eye on that, and this is our stage of the day. Clear blue skies above, and it's Sweden winner Mikko Hirvonen who will have the dubious honour of leading the cruise away. Here we go then, the first gravel test for the new era of World Rally cars. Running first on the road means Mikko will face the worst of the loose gravel in these shorter, more nervous cars. The Ford man's already fighting to control the car as he struggles for grip. Second into the 26 kilometres of Alfaro after his stunning rise to prominence in Sweden is Mats Osberg. It's the 23-year-old's first attempt at Rally Mexico, so we can expect a more cautious run from the Norwegian this weekend. Back with Hirvonen as he approaches Alfaro's jump. A fairly controlled display there from Mikko. Mikko's Ford Abu Dhabi teammate Jari-Matti Latvala is next into the stage. It is the first high-altitude challenge, of course, for these new cars. The thin air can leave the cars around 20% down on power. Back on the start line is Petter Solberg.
You always have to check who's driving and co-driving now, yeah?
As Petter pointed out there, he thankfully has co-driver Chris Patterson in the passenger seat on this occasion as they blast off into Alfaro. Well, Solberg has a good record in the Mexican mountains, winning here back in 2005. He's got the hammer down in this flat-out section at the start. The first of the work Citroën, Sébastien Ogier, is also well into the stage. The Frenchman's always performed well on Mexico's challenging gravel roads, and looking at his telemetry, you can really see how incredibly quick this stage is. It's so fast, it's only really at the breaking points where time can be lost or gained. He's rapidly bearing down on that jump now. Completely nailing it in 6th gear, no sign of backing off. Oh, massive air from Sébastien. He definitely didn't hold back there, and he is fastest through so far. Rejoining our featured driver, Solberg, now.
Six right plus half long, tightens a little, keep in over crest 200.
And we can take a look at Petter's telemetry too. The car feeling down on power on these high altitude roads. Petter's keeping the rev range as high as possible. It's his turn to take on the jump.
Slight right, half long, 100.
The former world champion as spectacular as ever there.
Extra long, keep in over crest 200.
Let's take another look from outside the car. Definitely one of the biggest jumps so far. The Citroëns are all using their superior grip to good effect, and we have an interesting battle of the Sebastians building this morning. Loeb is incredibly evenly matched to his teammate Ogier. Just 0.2 of a second separate the Citroën total drivers at the moment. Ken Block has started the day with a 10-minute time penalty after missing the Guanajuato Street stage. Let's see what he's like over the jump. Well, he's not letting it hold him up too much. Another spectacular leap from the Monster World Rally Team driver. From a Ford 1-2-3 at the end of Rally Sweden, we now have a Citroën 1-2-3 after the first gravel stage of 2011. Just 2.9 seconds between them, with Ogier moving into the top spot. Latvala's the leading Ford driver in fourth. There are still two more mountain stages to run in the morning loop, beginning with the highest stage of the whole championship. Ortega peaks at over 2,700 metres, so that lack of power will be even more pronounced. That's first car on the road. Mikko Hirvonen still fighting for grip on the top layer of loose gravel. Mikko working hard to keep the Fiesta RS on the road. He's pushing as much as he dares, but still slipping adrift of the Citroëns. Using our WRC stage simulator, we can visualise how much of a disadvantage Mikko has running first on the road compared to Sébastien Ogier. By putting them on the road at the same time, his superior grip means Ogier is much quicker. Hirvonen was 8.6 seconds slower after just 20 kilometres. Sweden star Mads Östberg, meanwhile, comes into the Ortega stage running in 6th place. But there is a problem here for Mads and his Swedish co-driver Jonas Andersson. They've picked up a puncture. And with 10 kilometres still to run, they've got a decision to make. They eventually stop to check out the tyre, but with it only partially deflated, they still have the option to continue driving without changing the wheel. There was some concern before the event that these Mexican roads are rougher than usual, and it's certainly proving a tough test for Michelin's new gravel tyres. We're with Flying Finn, Jari-Matti Latvala now. And listen to that vibration, he could have a similar problem. It's a puncture too for Latvala. Unlike Östberg though, Jari and co-driver Mika Angela do decide to get out and change the wheel. Latvala's delay could also cause problems for Sébastien Ogier, who's immediately behind on the road. And back up with Latvala, he's almost completed the tyre switch. Anything around 2 minutes is a solid change. Yes, that's good work there by the Finns. Latvala back on his way, but he too will drop well down the standings after that. So, Ogier is still behind the Ford Abu Dhabi driver. But with Latvala now not far ahead, he's caught the end of the Fiesta's dust trail. And this will be very frustrating for the Frenchman. Well, Latvala's made it through to the stage finish, but he won't be a happy man after that setback. Ogier just has the last couple of corners to pass through in this stage now. And driving through Latvala's dust doesn't seem to have held him back too much. It has been another impressive run from the Frenchman despite that distraction. Running back in 6th position on the road, Loeb is another driver enjoying better grip than the Fords out front. He claims his first stage win of the weekend in El Cubilete and is now just 1.2 seconds behind his teammate. Petter Solberg, meanwhile, is still having a good run this morning. Not quite on the pace of the Citroën Total drivers, the Norwegian is at least the best of the rest as he fights to stay in contention for his first win in almost 6 years.
To keep right over extra long, flat crest into 6 left plus half long, and 6 right minus over crest tightens, 6 left opens long, tightens a little.
It's been an eventful few stages, and the punctures for Osberg and Latvala have allowed Russian youngster Evgeny Novikov to climb up to 6th on his debut with the M Sport Stobart team. After 4 stages then, it's Ogier who's out front, just 1.2 seconds ahead of his teammate Loeb, with Petter Solberg in 3rd. Mikko Hirvonen is now the leading Ford driver after his teammate's puncture. From the mountains, the crews next tackled the Coca-Cola Street Stage, a tight 1 kilometre circuit alongside the service park and the Lyon Polo Forum. The fans are out in force again to witness rallying come into the city. And it's a successful run for Sebastian Loeb. Despite the stage's short length, the world champion passes his teammate to claim the rally lead. After 5 stages then, it's Loeb who's top of the pile, just 0.7 of a second ahead of Ogier. Talented lineup of drivers competing in Mexico mean we can expect more of the same. Fresh from winning the epic Dakar Rally, Nasser Al-Attiyah has proved the man to beat early on in his S2000 Ford Fiesta. Al-Attiyah's closest challenger currently is Estonian youngster Ott Tänak, a protege of former WRC star Marco Martin. Tänak claimed the fastest time through stage 4 and lies 11.5 seconds behind the early leader. In 3rd place after the morning loop is Martin Prokop, the former junior WRC champion. He's still very much in touch with the leading pair, just under 7 seconds behind Tänak at the moment. Much was expected of reigning IRC champion Juho Hänninen, but a spin in the first run through Alfaro left him stuck in a ditch, and to add insult to injury, Juho broke his reverse gear in the process of getting back on the road. Hänninen lost 2 minutes in total today. On to the afternoon loop, and there's little respite in the battle for the top spot between Frenchmen Sebastians Loeb and Ogier. And having lost the rally lead to his teammate on the Lyon Street Stage earlier, Ogier's immediately back in front. And another massive leap over the Alfaro jump from Sebastian there. Behind the works Citroën in his privately run DS3 is our featured driver Petter Solberg. But there is a serious problem for Petter here. He's got a very sick sounding engine and is immediately losing a lot of time. World champion Loeb's also keeping his foot down as he approaches the 6th gear crest. We saw Ogier just pass over. Slightly nose heavy on the landing, but he's got away with that. With Solberg ailing in the stage, you can see Loeb's going to pass him. The Norwegian actually stationary now as they try and get to the bottom of their problem. Solberg's engine issues have promoted everyone behind up a position, including Sweden winner Mikko Hirvonen, who gratefully accepts the final podium place. An impressive feat considering he's been road sweeping all day. Petter has made it to the finish, but he's lost the best part of 7 minutes. Matthew Wilson could now equal his best ever finish of 4th position. But there are problems for Matt too. An electrical problem forces him to stop in stage. Well, mechanical gremlins are to be expected in these new cars, but because they are so new, fixing them out on stage is not a simple task. Petter is talking to his team via satellite telephone. There is obviously still a serious problem here for the Norwegian. With Solberg dropping back, it's now a 2-way fight for the top spot, with Ogier still on the attack. 1.6 litre DS3 working just as well as its predecessor in these high altitude stages. Loeb is approaching the end of stage 8 here. Can he get back ahead of his teammate? It's going to be very close. No, not quite. Loeb still trails by 1.6 seconds overall. After 2 runs through the super special that finished today, Ogier holds an advantage of just 2.3 seconds over Loeb. Kievenen's over a minute adrift in third, with Jari-Matti Latvala now fourth. We are in central Mexico, and today's 9 stages fan out to the north and east of host city Leon, with the bulk of the action up in the Sierra de Lobos mountains, just under 159 competitive kilometres in total. 12 World Rally cars are due at the start line of stage 11. Rally leader Sébastien Ogier is followed by Sébastien Loeb. The works forwards of Kievenен and Latvala are next, and M-Sport's Stobart new boy Evgeny Novikov is fifth on the road, ahead of his teammate Henning Solberg. Matt Zosberg and Petter Solberg will hope to fight back after day one problems, and there are also restarts for Matt Wilson and Ken Block after their opening day retirements. 30 kilometres of Ibarilla. The spectators have been camping overnight to watch the action. It's the longest stage of the rally and is also very technical with a lot of rhythm changes. Here comes Ogier. Frenchman flat out over the compression there as the suspension of the DS3 soaked up the impact. And charging over a cattle grid is about to hit the first big jump of day 2. Well, he is really attacking, and he's got no choice with 7-time world champion Loeb chasing him down. It really narrows towards the finish line here. He's into the flying finish. That is the first stage cleared, but is it enough to keep his teammate behind? And joining Sébastien Loeb now. We'll soon find out if he can make an impression on Ogier's lead. Just 2.3 seconds between them before this stage, remember. Not far to go now. Seb is still pushing. Yes, he's done it. Loeb takes the lead from his teammate for the second time. A cracking start to the day for the world champion. Let's watch Mikko Hirvonen over the jump. Big air over the crest from Mikko. And now running third, he'll hope the Fiesta RS WRC's new 1.6 litre engine will be a closer match for the Citroen's at altitude than its predecessor was. Frustratingly though, the split times aren't looking too promising. He's going to be slower than both Citroen total drivers again. Even understandably concerned by his lack of pace, Jari-Matti Latvala is not far behind. But after suffering a costly puncture on day 1, Latvala's picked up yet another. Thankfully on this occasion he's just 5 kilometres from the finish, but it still cost him over 20 seconds. Our featured driver Petter Solberg is also fighting back after opening day dramas. Starting down in 13th, the 2003 world champion has got the hammer down as he seeks to claw his way back up the leaderboard. It's a good start. Petter's second fastest in stage 11. Dennis Kuipers, meanwhile, is on course for a terrific result in just his second rally at the sport's top level. The Dutchman running 7th at the moment. Oh, but he's off the road! A scary moment for Dennis and co-driver Frederik Miklot. With the Fiesta on its side and wedged in a ditch, I'm afraid that's game over. It's already been an eventful start to the day. Loeb takes over the lead while Kievenenen and Latvala continue to slip further adrift. With Matt Wilson unable to start and Kuipers out, Petter Solberg has broken back into the point-scoring places. Stage. Running 5th at the start of day 2 is Evgeny Novikov. It's been quite a comeback for the Russian after a year away from the WRC, but there could be problems on the horizon for the 20-year-old. He's got an oil leak, and with 2 stages still to run before service, these are worrying times for the M-Sport Stobart man. The Duarte stage is looking really rough in places. It's also quite technical and twisty, and Sébastien Ogier needs caution in places as he attempts to stay in touch with his teammate Loeb. The Frenchman is still facing the most slippery conditions too.
60 mètres, frein dans droite 110 000 tige ferme, sur gauche 100.
Sébastien Loeb, on the other hand, seems to be enjoying himself in these winding roads.
Sur droite 120, sur gauche 120 moins très long des verres pas cordes.
Following his teammates' tracks, you can see ahead of him there, he's enjoying that clearer line of grip and is gradually pulling away from Ogier with every passing kilometre. In total, Loeb pulls another 15 seconds up on Ogier in that stage. Further back, there's bad news for Novikov. That oil leak proves terminal. The Russian will go no further today. Using our WRC stage simulator, we can visualise how much running behind Ogier is helping the world champion by placing them on the road at the same time. Approaching the split marker after just 20 kilometres, Loeb is well ahead. Ogier sliding really wide at every corner. The Frenchman 9.1 seconds down already. Next up is our stage of the day, Derramadero, and what a challenge it is. Rising to an altitude well over 2,400 metres above sea level, we've selected this 23-kilometre test, not only for its blisteringly quick roads, but also because it features 3 of the biggest jumps in the whole World Championship. Our first man to take on this breathtaking stretch of road is Citroën Total star Sébastien Ogier and co-driver Julien Ingracia. The French pair charge off into Derramadero in a cloud of Mexican dust. The first of this stage's hazards is coming up. Even from our helicam, you can see the compression ahead in the road. And no mistakes from Ogier as he powers through.
Gauche centrale à fond corde ancienne sur frein 50 mètres, droite centrale plus intérieure en guéjette. Qui ouvre le ferme 133.
Back on the start line, poised to release the second DS3 into the stage is world champion Sébastien Loeb and Daniel Elena.
Sur gauche à fond long et droite frein pas corde pendant 100 mètres pour attention au pylône.
From the helicopter above, you get a real sense how dry and arid this landscape is. Oh, and Loeb bouncing his way through that compression there, working the suspension hard. We've already seen a terrific fight back from our featured driver, Peter Solberg, today. Can we expect more of the same in Derramadero? His never-give-up attitude has again been on display today. The Norwegian looking in determined mood as he battles back from his 7-minute hold-up on day one. Really big slide from Petter there. Up ahead, Ogier is closing fast on the big one. Derramadero's devilish El Brinco jump. No lifting from Ogier. And a huge roar from the crowd. It's been another fine drive from the Frenchman. Let's check in with Sébastien at the stop control. The thousands of fans packed into El Brinco are waiting for Loeb to hit the jump. Sébastien getting almost as much air as his teammate. It's been another successful run for the world champion, but with less loose gravel around in Derramadero, the lack of road sweeping effect is evident. Loeb only a second quicker than Ogier on this occasion. Peter Solberg's nickname is Hollywood because of his showmanship, so what can we expect as he flies towards El Brinco? And you can see from his telemetry how quick the approach is. Whoa, Petter airborne for a long time there. Let's take another look at Petter over El Brinco from outside the car. Incredible stuff, and his maximum attack approach is paying off. Our featured driver is the quickest man on our featured stage. Not too much of an impact on the leaderboard after the first pass through Derramadero. Loeb's lead now stands at just under 20 seconds, with Ogier still second. Novikov's retirement means a boost up the standings for the Solberg brothers. Moving on to the afternoon loop then, a repeated pass through the same stage as used in the morning. And Sébastien Ogier's seen his teammate Loeb gradually extend his advantage out front. His target for the afternoon will be to keep him within touching distance and hope he can attack again on the final day. But news begins to filter through that the world champions had a serious delay before the start line. Could there be an opportunity opening for Ogier?
Stand by, boys, stand by.
Back on the start line, Mikko Hirvonen is due to start behind Loeb, but you can see the Frenchman working on his DS3. A serious problem for Loeb here. Both Sebastian and co-driver Daniel Elena making emergency repairs. Hirvonen makes his way into this second pass through Iberiela, leaving the high drama at the start line behind. Well, depending on how serious Loeb's problem is, this could be great news for the Finns Championship hopes. For now, though, Mikko is focused on making it through this flat-out stretch of road. Well, whatever the problem was, Loeb has got moving. And his DS3 seems to be fighting fit at the moment. After starting the stage 5 minutes late, though, he's racked up 50 seconds in time penalties. That'll put him back down in second, behind his teammate. But for now, he'll be relieved to still be in the running. Drama just keeps on coming in Mexico, and there were problems too for Henning Solberg. The M Sport Stobart driver's got broken power steering, and it's forcing a heroic effort to keep the car on the road as the Norwegian manhandles the Fiesta RS through Iberiela's 30 kilometres. With Osberg just ahead, the third Norwegian in the top 7 is our featured driver Petter Solberg. True to his word, the former Mexico winner has battled hard after starting the day down in 13th. He's shown impressive speed throughout the second day and claims his first fastest time of the weekend in stage 15. Following his brother's misfortune, Petter's now made it all the way up to 5th, the target he set himself earlier in the day. But the big news is up front. Following that dramatic start line gear change problem, 50 seconds in time penalties have seen Sebastian Loeb slip back to second. Checking up on the SWRC now, 2011 Dakar winner Nasser Al-Attiyah dominated throughout day 1, and he's rarely looked troubled in today's morning loop. The second day, though, did get off to a dramatic start for second place Oyt Tanak, the Estonian flying off the road on the opening stage of the day. Thankfully, both Oyt and co-driver Kulda Sik were unharmed, but with the car heavily damaged and well off the road, they were unsurprisingly out for the day. Tanak's retirement promoted Martin Prokop into second place, and with the Czech driver finally content with his setup, he's begun to show impressive pace, claiming a fastest time in stage 12. Prokop does, though, have a fired-up Juho Hänninen building a charge behind him. On the first stage alone, the Finn was 19 seconds quicker than anyone else. There would be more frustration for Karl Kruder. The Estonian restarted under Super Rally rules after an overheating engine ended his run on day 1, only for the same problem to occur again after stage 13. Crucial 2 stages to come then for Citroën drivers Ogier and Loeb. After the break, we also head back to the El Brinco jump. Don't go. Welcome back. Over in the SWRC, Nasser Al-Attiyah has been completely in control since he took the lead on the first day. The multiple Middle Eastern champion has survived a broken steering column this afternoon, and he's still the man to beat heading into the final day. Martin Prokop, though, has begun to find some pace after solving a rear differential issue with a setup change. 2-stage wins on day 2, testament to the Czech driver's improving speed. Prokop's own position is less than secure, however, because reigning IRC champion Juho Hänninen is on an absolute flyer. The Finn is taking a lot of risks and driving on the absolute limit, but it's certainly been effective. Fastest on all 3 stages in the afternoon loop, Hänninen has closed up to just over 31 seconds behind the man in second. After stage 19, this is how the SWRC stands. Tanak and Kruder both racking up Super Rally penalties for their earlier retirements. The 3 podium slots are separated by just over a minute. Back to the fight for WRC glory now as the drivers move on to the final pair of mountain stages of this penultimate day. The fight for the top spot between the 2 Sebastians took an unexpected twist with that dramatic delay for Loeb in the previous test. Ogier starts stage 16 with a lead of just over 21 seconds, but after an intermittent power glitch in the last few kilometres, he sees his advantage halved. By Loeb has left him just 10.4 seconds behind, but as ever, with the final day's running order to consider, the 37-year-old may not want to end the day in the lead. Loeb is driving with a broken handbrake after damaging it in the previous test. It's certainly not helping him through these tight hairpins towards the end of the stage, and almost stalled it there. He'll definitely finish the day second now. That's the first time today Seb's been beaten by his teammate. Ogier isn't the quickest driver overall in stage 17, however. That honour goes to Jari-Matti Latvala, the Finn finally showing signs of life for Ford after a difficult rally, claiming the first stage win of the weekend for the Blue Oval. Petter Solberg's impressive pace was maintained, meanwhile, with his second consecutive fastest time in stage 16. He's already achieved his top 5 slot, but can he get any higher? Oh, he's snapped the top of his gear shift off. That's going to be a big distraction. Oh, and a massive moment for Petter. He was a very, very lucky boy there.
Tightens forward, okay. And then 6 right plus axle.
Well, let's take another look at that.
6 left plus half long push.
He just gets his line slightly wrong at the approach, crossed up in the air, instantly spins on the landing. Petter ends the day a somewhat relieved man in 5th. So Petter will start the final day in 5th place, leading a trio of Norwegians with Osberg up to 6th as Henning Solberg's power steering problems continued. Up front though, Ogier holds a slender lead of just 10. The rally is based in Leon, the biggest city in the state of Guanajuato, which lies to the north of the nation's capital, Mexico City. Just the 3 stages to come on this final day, with a total competitive distance of 62 kilometers. It's an intriguing day in prospect, so let's get straight down to the start line of the opening stage. First up is the longest test of the day, the 29 kilometers of Guanajuatito, and rally leader Ogier is ready for the off. Ogier and co-driver Julien Ingracia head off into the Mexican wilderness to defend that 10.5 second advantage. This road has a hard clay base with a thin covering of gravel, so again Ogier will expect to suffer as the first car on the road as he powers through the water splash. Back on the start line in the second Citroën DS3, it's Sebastian Loeb and co-driver Daniel Elena looking as calm as ever. So the Mexican battle resumes, Loeb quickly getting the power down as he eases himself into a flat-out rhythm. After the second split time, 6 kilometers into the stage, the world champion is already 1.7 seconds up on his teammate. Ogier knows he's under pressure. Despite the slippery conditions, the 27-year-old continues to attack. Oh, he slid wide! Big moment for Ogier, and there was an impact as he slid off the road. Look at this, he could be in trouble already. Yeah, he stopped the car. They're quickly out to assess the damage, and this could be a nightmare scenario. Let's take another look. It's actually quite an innocuous incident, just slightly too fast. They slide wide on the loose stuff and must have clipped something in the undergrowth. Whatever the cause, it's the end of Ogier's hopes of claiming a 3rd career win and the end of Citroën's 1-2 finish. Well, the king is dead. Long live the king. One Citroën driving Sebastian is replaced by another out front. Loeb can't believe what's happening here as he passes his stricken teammate. You can see Ogier's broken front wheel there. Thankfully, Loeb makes it through the Guanajuatito test. And we can get straight down to the finish line now to have a word with the stunned Frenchman. It's not only Loeb who's set to benefit from Ogier's dramatic exit, it is of course terrific news for both Ford Abu Dhabi drivers. Nico Hirvonen knows he could now add a 2nd place finish in Mexico to his Sweden victory. And there are now 2 Works Fords in the podium places as Jari-Matti Latvala will also move up to 3rd following Ogier's exit. The Flying Finn is still showing impressive pace. Jari claims his 2nd fastest time of the weekend in the Comanhia test. Our feature driver, Petter Solberg, had already achieved his target of a top 5 spot after starting the 2nd day down in 13th, and he too has gained another position.
6 right plus over long.
Interestingly, the Norwegian has opted to carry only one spare tyre on the final day, hoping to save weight and go for glory on the power stage. We'll keep an eye on his progress through there later.
Slight left over.
There will be no power stage for Sebastian Ogier, however, with that wheel ripped from his DS3. It's the end of the road for the devastated Frenchman. All changed then after the opening 2 stages of day 3. Everyone moves up a position, with Loeb now holding a commanding lead of more than 1 minute and 40 seconds ahead of Hirvonen and Latvala. Petter Solberg is now 4th ahead of Mads Osberg. Welcome back to Rally Mexico. We're about to head out to the Guanajuato power stage, where bonus points are on offer for the top 3 drivers. The power stage covers 8.2 kilometres of fast-flowing gravel road that descends through one of the valleys of the Sierra de Lobos. Joining me in the commentary booth is Julian Porter.
Next car is in, and another drive with multiple problems this weekend, Petter Solberg.
Yeah, well, the Norwegian is he really had, well, he's basically lost 7 minutes essentially, didn't he, with an engine problem on the first day. But I'll tell you what, it's been an admirable fight back since then, hasn't it?
Well, his slogan and his saying is, "This is my life, never give up," and he hasn't. And if he can take some points, we know he's taken 1 spare tyre today as a gamble to keep the car 3.1 seconds quicker.
Wow.
That's to the quickest time, which is Henning currently at that split. 3.1 seconds quicker. Petter is really after those 3 points.
He really is. He said earlier he was out for an all-out attack on this power stage. That's why he's left 1 spare tyre behind. It's a bit of a risk with so many punctures we've seen this weekend, but he knows that this power stage this year, it can add up to
39 points if you win all of them.
It's a win and a half if you can win. It's just an absolute bonus for these guys who've had a difficult weekend. Nice to ride on board with Petter and co-driver Chris Patterson. Obviously, it's nice to see Petter driving the car, not his co-driver Chris in that bizarre incident we saw in Sweden.
Yeah, that caught us out. The thing is with Petter, you've got to look for... Yesterday had even stranger problems. He's coming down to the jump now. Let's just see what he's like over the jump.
That was
a
big
long
air,
way.
That was big air. In a way, it doesn't look as spectacular from the onboard, but that was a very, very big jump. Petter is going for this power stage win.
This could be interesting. Yesterday had the bizarre problem with he snapped the gear lever whilst downshifting, and then when he got to a jump, he made a mistake because he went for the gear lever at the regular height, which wasn't there, and he spun leaving the jump.
Petter all over the road. He's looking really, really aggressive. Definitely the most aggressive run we've seen through so far. Absolutely bottoming out almost through the compressor.
It's going to be an impressive stage time.
Anyway, into the flying finish. This is going to be a great time.
42.5.
5.8 seconds quicker. Well, it's a Norwegian 1, 2, 3, and it's the 2003 world champion who's at the top of the pile. Osberg now second, 5.8 seconds down on Petter. Henning Solberg, the elder brother of Petter, 7 seconds down now, with Block now bumped out of the point scoring places on the power stage. That really was quite some run from Petter.
Yeah, well, the next man into the stage is, as we know, one of the fastest outright drivers on any given single stage, Jari-Matti Latvala.
You've got to assume then that the Ford boss, Malcolm Wilson, he will have asked his drivers not to risk it. It's difficult when there's extra points on offer. He was always saying at the start of the year, likes the idea of the power stage, but it's going to be difficult to rein in his drivers sometime, especially Jari-Matti Latvala. He really can be quite a passionate guy at times.
Well, that's it, because the power stage points are just for the drivers, not for the manufacturers. So even if Malcolm is wanting us to back off.
Coming up now. Let's see where Latvala stands compared to Petter. He's quicker. Wow,
0.1 though. This is game on now. Game on.
This is game on. Remember, this stage just over 8 kilometres long. Really not going to be much in it between the top guys, and Latvala really throwing down the gauntlet to Petter Solberg. 1/10 of a second up. Wow, this is brave driving from Latvala with a podium on offer here.
He's got to be even braver in the second part, because Petter was awesome in it.
Let's see how brave he is over the jump. Wow, another big one. It looked very controlled as well, didn't he?
Yeah, the car seemed to fly a lot better. Petter's was a little bit high at the rear end. You see another compression there. Jari just working so hard. You got to spare a thought for the co-driver as well.
Yeah, well, Jari's had a couple of testing accidents so far this year, but so far on the rallies, he managed to keep it on the road. Few excursions.
Malcolm will let him have all the testing accidents he wants if he keeps producing this every weekend.
Absolutely. Well, he's edging very, very close. Here's the compression coming up. Yeah, another big bounce through there. Not quite as wild as Petter, but he's coming into the flying finish now. Remember, just 1/10 of a second down on Petter at that split time.
Oh no!
Oh, he's slower, he's lost it. 4/10 down. Well, somewhere in that second half of the stage, look at Petter and Chris. They enjoyed that. They realised they were under pressure, but you've got a 4/10 of a second advantage.
It's cleaning, you know, this is the thing with the turning order, you know.
Let's have a little look at the standings so far. Petter Solberg then, he's the leader, followed by Jani-Matti Latvala, 4/10 of a second down. Osberg now third. Henning Solberg has been bumped out of the top 3 now, so... Anyway, Mikko Hirvonen, we're looking at him now. As he did in 2010, he started the season with a win in Sweden. He's now the leading Ford driver in terms of wins. Oh, and there's Sebastian Loeb, our rally leader. He's on his way into the Guanajuato power stage.
It'll be interesting to see what approach he has.
We're back with Hirvonen now, though. We'll rejoin Loeb later. Doubt we're going to see many heroics from him after his teammates' demise. We're getting up to the split time marker, and Hirvonen's quicker. Wow! Well,
what did you just say? We weren't going to see any heroics.
Back at the service park, I can imagine Malcolm Wilson having a bit of a sweat on right now. What do you think?
1.5 seconds quicker so far. Petter, I would definitely say it's cleaning now.
It's definitely cleaning, it's definitely cleaning.
Mikko Hirvonen, as we say today, is the only driver to not have a major problem this weekend. He did first on the road on Friday. Yesterday he was disappointed, he didn't take as much as what he should have with his road position. But today, if he can take some points here, it's just really, really strong.
Yeah, with his struggles on the first day, I think the podium finish would have been gratefully accepted. Any extra points in the power stage? Let's have a look at Mikko. It's a good gauge of how much they're attacking. Pretty tidy like Latvala, but that was still a quick time.
Yeah, but you know what all the Finns always say when we get to Finland? You lose time flying through the air. It's a lot calmer through the jump. Once you're in the air, you can't be going, like, accelerating to go anywhere.
Yeah, you quite often see them dab on the brakes a little bit. It gives them that much more control as they go over the jump. Remember, you can't get the power down while you're flying through the air. Anyway, Mikko Hirvonen edging ever closer to the flying finish. He's already on course for a second place finish to add to his Sweden victory. Let's take a look at him through the compression.
Wilson can just be dreading watching the last few corners in that Ford's service park.
Don't worry, Mal, looking on board now with Mikko. Don't worry, Malcolm, they're almost there. He's through. He's through. Let's have a look. 2.1 seconds. Well, Mikko and co-driver Jarmo Lehtonen have gone even quicker again. We thought they were going to ease off on this power stage a little bit, but he's having absolutely no of it. There's extra championship points on offer. Petter and Chris Patterson waving goodbye. Well, Mikko looks very calm in there, but maybe he doesn't know it yet, but that was a terrific time.
That has thrown the gauntlet down to Loeb. He's wanted to see the time. That's what Mikko's doing, waving his hand. He wants to see the time.
Well, that is a possible 3 extra championship points to add to his second place finish. Remember, he's already got 25 points for that.
There's the smile.
There's
he knows
that.
That is so important, though, potentially for championship.
Yeah, well, we saw last year, didn't we? That first win in Sweden aside, it really was a miserable season for Mikko last year. He now knows what it takes to win a championship. He came within a point of doing it in... well, there's one of our Mexican wrestling friends. He's also a Sebastian Loeb fan by the looks of it, judging from that flag. But do you know what? I can't see Sebastian Loeb pushing for glory, but he's a competitive man. What do you think? I was already surprised about Mikko's run.
I was surprised about Mikko, to be fair. I thought he might just hang about. But here we are with Loeb. Let's see. We're heading towards the split. Let's see what he is. It's full on for him. Hirvonen leads. Petter Solberg second. Latvala third, with Loeb still to go.
Yeah, remember, we've been deprived of that terrific battle that we were hoping for between the 2 Citroën Total drivers. Sebastian Ogier crashing out and ripping off the wheel on the first stage this morning. Frustrating for the team, but they really have been going at it all weekend. A terrific battle between them, and if that's a tone for what's to come this season, I think we could be in for a cracker, couldn't we?
I can't wait. The battle of the Citroëns, the supremacy in that team is going to be one of the major points of this season. And Loeb stated 2 or 3 times to me at stage ends this season. There's this weekend 2.1 down on the split. He's looking after his points for the victory there.
Remember, Sebastian Loeb, he's got a 1.5 minute advantage on the overall rally. He does not want to risk everything just for an extra 3 championship points. He had a difficult rally in Sweden as well, remember, only finishing 6th there. So he really needs to get his first win under his belt, and this will also mark his 5th Rally Mexico win in a row. It's been quite some run, but I'm not expected to see any absolutely mad heroics here as we come up to El Brinco. Pretty big jump though through there.
Was a big jump. What you got to remember, it's also first gravel round of the season. The Citroen has been very, very strong. Both Ogier and Lowe. But Ogier this morning, the pressure getting to him. 7-time world champion, just turned the screw on it. And Ogier making a mistake.
Yes, Citroen really have dominated at these high altitude stages in Mexico over recent years, and it's been no different this year. Despite the switch to the DS3 and the Ford Fiesta, they still seem to have the edge at altitude. Lowe has taken full advantage.
Too brave to try and beat Mikko in there, but I think Mikko's safe with that time.
Yeah, here they come. Let's have a look at his time. 4:42.5, yeah, 2.1 seconds, but that is second quickest. Well, Mikko, he takes the power stage victory. Loeb takes the overall victory. So Mikko Hirvonen claims the 3 points on offer for the Mexican power stage win after that gutsy drive, while Loeb claims an extra 2 championship points. Sebastian and Petter could only be separated by the nearest hundredth of a second. Let's take a look at the overall standings, and it really was a dominant victory in the end for Loeb following his teammates' exit. Sebastian finishing over a minute and a half ahead of Hirvonen's Ford Fiesta. Petter Solberg completed his impressive comeback in fourth. Petter scored 13 points in total, including his third place in the power stage. He moves up to 5th in the championship standings. Up front though, Mikko Hirvonen remains top of the pile, with Loeb now his closest rival 9 points behind. Jari-Matti Latvala is third. And in the Manufacturers' Championship, Ford have taken advantage of Ogier's no score to build an early 26-point lead over Citroen, while M Sport's Stobart Ford are in third place. A quick roundup of the SWRC action now, and Nasser Al-Attiyah started in a comfortable position after leading from the opening stage of the rally. The Qatari driver had a big scare in the first stage of the day when his door lining worked loose, and he dropped over 20 seconds though. Estonians Karl Kruder and Oits Tanak both restarted under Super Rally rules, but completed the event to claim 5th and 4th places respectively. Juho Hänninen, meanwhile, had closed up to just over 20 seconds behind Martin Prokop, but pushed too hard in stage 21. The roll cost the Finn almost a minute and ended his hopes of catching the man in second, but he did recover to set the fastest time in stage 22, despite his battered car. That left Czech driver Prokop free to claim second and get his 2011 campaign off to a terrific start. And it seemed that Al-Attiyah had survived his earlier scare to claim his first ever SWRC victory by a margin of just 13.5 seconds. Part in his Fiesta's fuel cell, a heartbreaking blow to the man who'd led from start to finish, and it allowed Martin Prokop to claim his first SWRC victory, with Hänninen elevated to the runner-up spot. So it's Prokop and not Al-Attiyah who claims that crucial first 25.